All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another amazing time on Urban Birds and Bees. I am Dr. Kerry Neal.
Hold on. We gotta go back one more time. I gotta click record here, okay?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Kerry Neal. I'm here on the Urban Birds and Bees platform. We want to welcome everyone who are out there in Facebook Live land. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm here at the heart of Culver City, California, here at the Oneymma Members Lounge. And today we're talking about why vote yes on Prop 50. Oh, wow. One of the most hotly contested propositions probably in the history of the state of California. But we're going to be before you about 30, 40 minutes, and we want to break this down, so thank you for joining us. Just a little bit about Urban Birds and Bees. We're here to bring honest conversations to the forefront about community culture, family, dating, and change. I'm your host again, Dr. Kerry Neal. And today we're tackling one of the most consequential issues on the ballot, Proposition 50, and examining its implication for Black families and communities across California. So joining me is the one and only Oneymma Obiekea.
Yes.
I got it right there. I'm going to go through your last name again. Okay. So she's an attorney, strategist, and advocate for reproductive justice with the Black Women for Wellness Action Project. She has dedicated her career to dismantling systems of oppression and advancing policies that enable our communities to live and thrive in dignity. Oneymma, welcome to Urban Birds and Bees. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Dr. Neal. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show in beautiful Culver City.
And it's like a dope podcast studio as well.
This is so phenomenal. Like, y'all should check it out. I mean, have something to say, but check it out.
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure to be here and be in conversation with you. So thank you for having us.
Yeah. Well, the honor's all mine. For sure. And then we got on our ones and twos here our engineer extraordinaire Zach over here in the corner. So just wave, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
Anyway, so let's jump right into it. Let's kind of set the stage, okay? So we're talking about Proposition 50, but we don't want to take anything for granted. We know a lot of people may know a lot about it. Man, talk about a polarizing viewpoint on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just for those who may not have heard anything about Proposition 50, give us a breakdown. What is it, and why has it become such a hotly contested issue right now?
Yes, so thank you for that question, and I think, we can't take anything for granted, as you've said. I'll first say, Prop 50 is really a meeting of this very moment. It's a meeting of this very urgent moment. It's a response to that. Prop 50 is our opportunity to preserve our democracy, and I'll go into what it actually means and what the language is, but I think it's really important to understand that we can't sit on our hands in this very urgent moment. We have to do something, and across the nation there is an effort to seize permanent power at the hands of the Trump administration and right-wing Republicans. Right? We are in a fight. We are in a nationwide battle for power. And so Prop 50 is precisely a response to that. Right? It came about because the president called up Texas and said, "Hey, what's going on, Abbott? I need about 5 or 7 more seats so that I can bolster the majority of Republicans in Congress."
Right.
Abbott said, "Say less. I'm going to hold a special election, and a special session, not even an election, a special session of the legislature to redraw maps and approve partisan gerrymandered maps." And so California sprung into action and said, "All right, Texas, if you're going to do this to increase your Republican representation in California, in Congress, California will do the same." And so California, responding to Texas's undemocratic attempt to increase its Republican representation, said, "You know what? We'll devise a plan as well." And what California did was say, we're going to redraw maps to give Democrats an increased chance of gaining more seats in Congress. But California can't do that without asking the voters first.
Right.
Because
unlike Texas,
California actually values democracy.
Right.
We value the voice of our people. We value just fairness in representation.
But wait a minute, stop there for a second.
Yeah.
Because they're running these ads with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor, the former governor.
Yeah.
And he's saying, vote no on Proposition 50 because it puts democracy at risk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what gives?
What gives? Okay, so a little history, okay? California, the way California does its redistricting is through an independent citizens redistricting commission.
Right.
And that was established first in 2008 through a constitutional amendment. The voters voted on that, right?
Right.
Guess was governor of the state of California around that time.
Yeah.
So that's his baby.
Yeah. Right.
Again, wonderful. Kudos.
Yeah.
In 2010, a constitutional amendment was voted on to add congressional seats to the responsibility of independent redistricting commissions. Wonderful and fabulous, right? Since we've had 2 rounds of independent redistricting commissions draw the maps and decide what representation would look like for the state of California. They're doing a wonderful and fabulous job. We appreciate them. Prop 50 does not do anything to dismantle the independent redistricting commission. And that's a lot of what the narrative has been. The narrative has been that Prop 50 will dismantle this process, right? Will dismantle this commission that's comprised of Republicans, Democrats, and independents, right? And then transfer the power of drawing maps forever and ever into the hands of the legislature in this behind the scenes closed door process.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Prop 50 not only makes it temporary, right? It only addresses congressional maps. It also places it on the ballot. So the voters have the last say. Prop 50 is asking voters a question.
Right.
It's engaging the democratic process.
Right.
It's saying, hey voters, Cali,
Right.
we went ahead and drew these maps out of urgency.
Right.
What do y'all think about it?
Right.
Nothing happens, nothing changes with the Constitution unless voters do something.
Right.
So Prop 50 engages the democratic process.
Well, thank you for clearing that up, because I was kind of wondering, I said, what in the world is going on? But yeah, so thank you.
Is that helpful? Like, does that make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's probably not uncommon that a lot of people probably aren't that politically astute.
Mm-hmm.
So the quick thing they hear on the radio, they see on the flyer, and whatever else, well, that's the way I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of great to have these moments like that.
And I'll say, listen, narrative, framing, communications is a powerful tool, right?
Yeah.
And how you frame a story, how you frame a thing, what you leave in and what you leave out, really has an impact on, how people, what people hear. And there's a lot of money that goes towards, misinformation, disinformation, and lies, and so.
We'll get to that. I got a question on that, but we'll get to that. Okay, so real quick question. Okay, so we hear terms like redistricting, whatever you call it.
That word.
Yeah. Equity and fairness, but few truly understand how redlining and gerrymandering connect to real life outcomes. Okay, such as healthcare, education, and even reproductive rights. Can you help us make sense of that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So the public health person in me loves this connection that you're making. The policy person in me loves this connection that you're making. Because that actually, like in this short window that we've been working on redistricting as it impacts Prop 50, I haven't heard that question about redlining, right? And they happen in 2 different ways, right? Redlining, but at the root of it, it boils down to the resources available to our community. It boils down to tools that have been used to disenfranchise our communities, to disempower our communities, be it economic power, right? We know that both are sort of state sanctioned, right? Redlining functioned to, like the legacy of redlining has led to disinvestment in Black communities, right?
Yeah.
Because Black folks weren't allowed, right, or weren't given loans to purchase homes, right?
Right.
And a lot of, our school districts, right? The quality of our schools are dependent on taxes, right?
Right.
And so we know that in Black communities, the schools there, if you compare the schools there to the schools in more enfranchised communities and more wealthier communities, there's a distinct difference, right? A legacy of redlining is that Black communities tend to be relegated to areas that are impacted by toxic chemicals in our environment. Right? Hello, Inglewood oil fields.
Yeah.
We tend to have in our backyards live, active wells, right?
Yeah, they're drilling right there off of, what's the street?
Like right by Kenneth Hahn.
Yeah.
Right by Kenneth Hahn, right?
Yeah.
You see
Right
that?
over there, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
And so, that translates to our health,
Yeah.
right? If you are playing in your backyard, if you have a kid and they're playing in your backyard, I would check the rates of asthma in those communities.
Yeah.
I would check the rates of asthma. I would check the quality of the schools.
Yeah.
I would check whether or not we have access to hospitals that can take care of our families.
Right.
And the quality of those hospitals, the resources
Yeah.
in those hospitals. I'm thinking MLK Community Hospital.
Yeah.
Before it was MLK Community Hospital, it was a larger hospital that trained surgeons. It was a state-of-the-art training facility, right? But as a function of disinvestment from our communities, a very legacy of redlining. I'm gonna land this plane, I guess. But my apologies.
No, it's okay. This is good stuff.
But just thinking about the legacies of redlining and how it's really functioned to harm our communities where it comes to access to healthcare, access to quality education, access to resources like grocery stores, for goodness sakes, right? And then redistricting, another way that our communities have been disempowered, right? And not able to access resources because redistricting has been used to quell or dilute Black power.
Yeah.
Which means that we haven't been able to adequately or fairly access this principle of one person, one vote, because we haven't been able to honestly, truly select representation that we know will work and fight on behalf of our best interest. That means that we don't get the resources that are due to us, right? Because there's no one we can actually hold accountable.
Resources need that support and took the initiative that we care most about. That's aligned with our values.
It doesn't align with our values, right?
Yeah.
Both things amount to us not being able to just live quality lives. And so, sorry, I went. Brevity's not my strong suit. I'm working on it. Forgive me, y'all. I hope you're following. But be it redlining, be it redistricting, these two things have functioned to rid us of necessary resources that allow us to live quality lives and thrive, right? And so I think that connection to Prop 50, was that a question? Because I
No, you did great there.
Okay.
So you land that plane, I think we're clear.
Are we clear on that? Okay.
Let's put your mic a little bit closer to us, kind of for your face.
Closer. Okay.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk about states for the Black community, because we kind of just touched on it just now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've been deeply engaged in advancing transformative legislation for Black women and families across California. So, thank you. So how does this proposition fit within the broader fight of reproductive justice, the right to have children, not have children, and to raise them in a safe and sustainable community? Excuse me.
Yes, and thank you so much for that, because I forgot to actually introduce the framework, right? With our organization.
Yeah, we'll talk about the organization and then answer the question.
So Black Women for Wellness Action Project is a reproductive justice organization committed to the empowerment, health, and well-being of Black women and girls. And we are the sister organization to Black Women for Wellness with that same mission. And so we are the advocacy arm. We get to do the fun political work. We get to do the fun legislative policy advocacy work that the sister organization isn't able to do for various reasons.
Sure.
And so we're still grounded in this reproductive justice framework, which you've articulated so beautifully. And you also mentioned that my advocacy has been focused on legislation, right? Because when we talk about realizing the right to have a child, when we talk about the right to not have a child, or the right to raise your families with dignity and safe and sustainable environments, or the right to bodily autonomy, those are rights that require a government to create and facilitate an environment that allows us to realize those rights. Those are rights that are affirmed and that fight against oppression, which when we think about it, when we think about redlining, or when we think about redlining, when we think about the fall of Roe v. Wade, when we think about various policies, right? Like these are systemic level these are oppressive systems, right? Yeah. This is oppression at a systemic level. It's more than interpersonal racism, right? When we talk about at Black Women for Wellness, the right to have a child, we're talking about the fact that Black mamas and birthing people are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, right? And it's not about Black mamas and birthing people themselves.
Right.
Yes, it's about interpersonal racism, but it's also about structural racism. It's also about systemic racism. And so the way you address systemic issues is through systemic solutions. And part of that is addressing legislation. Legislation is one of the ways that we can address systemic issues, right? And in order to pass legislation, we need legislators, policymakers, right, that are value aligned. So I think Prop 50 fits into that beautifully because it allows us it gives us an opportunity to send people to Congress who will actually vote in the interest of the community who sent them there,
right,
as opposed to the will of the administration who's twisting their arms. I'll say this, in California, like HR 1, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill,
right,
we're not going to call it that, we're going to call it HR 1.
Right.
You know, because I'm not going to call, that might be too political.
Yeah.
But I was like, the Staples Center is always going to be the Staples Center.
Stay within the guardrails. Stay within the guardrails.
Okay. So HR 1, for instance, right? All 9 Republicans that California sent to Congress voted in support of that bill, of HR 1. HR 1 is devastating for California.
Yeah.
HR 1, California's budget, 35% of California's budget comes from federal funds.
Yeah.
68% of that goes to healthcare, specifically Medi-Cal.
Yeah.
Healthcare for folks who can't afford it.
Yeah.
So with the $1 trillion cuts over 10 years that HR 1 makes, it makes significant cuts to California's budget. That has implications for who gets to access healthcare in our state.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about the SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
Here in California, we call it CalFresh.
Right.
That serves about 5 million people. Access to Medi-Cal, it'll impact about 35 million people in terms of who gets to who loses access to healthcare.
I mean, he's essentially gotten rid of the whole EBT card system.
Exactly.
Yeah, or welfare, remember when you grew up, food stamps.
Food stamps, all of that, right?
Yeah.
And so, so this has grave impacts on Californians alone. And the 9 Republicans that we sent to Congress, all of them said, you know what? Trump is pressuring me to vote this way. Yeah. So I'm going to vote along with Trump and not the Californians.
So let's talk about that for a second. So let me just fastball down the middle of the plate. Let me just ask you, if Proposition 50 does not pass, what does that mean for our community politically, economically, and even spiritually?
So it means that what we have been enduring.
So after Tuesday, results come, and we hear that Proposition 50 did not pass. What is the result? What's that mean for our community?
Well, it means the status quo.
The status quo.
It means that the maps stay the same. We wait another 5 years before the redistricting process takes place. It then means that the Trump administration gets to continue the reign of terror on our communities. We see what's going on in Chicago.
Right.
Right? We see the 300.
I would say it's not just our community.
It's not just our
It
community.
ain't just our community.
It's not just our community.
Yeah.
Right? But like the reign of terror on all communities, but thinking about Black folks, thinking about back to HR1 and the access to healthcare piece, right? Black folks, like for instance, Medi-Cal pays for about 40% of the births that take place here in California. For Black mamas and birthing people, that's 50%. Across the country, that's 64%. So if we think about who's losing access to healthcare, it's us.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about who's losing access to CalFresh benefits, it's us.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about who's losing access to jobs, when we think about the jobs report and like 300,000 Black women have left the job force.
Yeah.
In California, a significant number of Black women are head of households.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are shouldering the burden of the household.
Yeah. Yeah. Well
so
said.
what happens when they don't have jobs?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These are grave implications for our community.
Yeah, collateral damage is incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about the impact on our spirit, when you think about spirituality, right? Like, I think about like ICE.
Right.
Like kidnapping folks from the street, from off the street, right?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, we had a forum earlier in this once we had the special election scheduled. A Black immigrant I'm a Black immigrant, but I've been here for many years. I don't have an accent. But a Black woman, she was like, I am kind of safe until I open my mouth in a parking lot.
Ooh.
And what happens when ICE hears me?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean for me?
Yeah.
Right? So I always like to include Black immigrants in this because Black immigrants tend to be the most criminalized.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So I think about the terror, and when we think about spirituality, like, God does not give us a spirit of fear.
Okay.
But what does this reign of terror mean for like fear?
Yeah.
Throwing us into despondency. People aren't engaging with regular life in this moment because we're afraid.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't have access to food.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to get it, right? We're working in community to get that, and we're relying on community organizations. But I think the devastation, the implications of maintaining the status quo means that we relinquish a lot of power to the Trump administration and right-wing Republicans who, in the span of 10 months, have worked to roll back so much.
Oh my God.
The way they wield power so efficiently and effectively.
And look, a lot of people who are on the other side of this issue, they've been impacted. Please, somebody sue. He didn't discriminate.
Listen, the cut your nose to spite your face thing, I can't ever understand, right? But
wait, let's go to our next question. Okay, so let's talk about the opposition misinformation. So you were talking about something funny. Okay, so now every major proposition, right, seems to face well-funded opposition. Let's underscore well-funded opposition. Okay. Matter of fact, just before I finish the question, one of the things I was, in terms of preparing for this podcast, I was just listening to the news, and they are ready if Proposition 50 passes, which they suspected it will. They got lawsuits ready to hit the go button. So they said, look, here's our concerns, just like that, and wherever else. My rights are being hindered because of my race based on the process. There's all kind of things out there. So it's interesting. Yeah. So what are some of the misconceptions or misleading narratives you've seen surrounding Prop 50?
So for me, one thing that's been fun is this will dismantle the Independent Redistricting Commission.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not true, right?
Yeah. You talked about that earlier, remember?
Right? And I think it's one thing I'll underscore here is it suspends the role of the Redistricting Commission only for their work around the congressional maps and only for 2026 through 2030. There is in the proposition, it gives them back, it gives the Independent Redistricting Commission back that role.
Right.
At regularly scheduled timing of post the 2030 census. So that's one thing I've been hearing. They're talking about dismantles the Independent Redistricting Commission. It It's of course undemocratic, but again, it goes to the voters. You know, there was no process. It was all done behind closed doors,
Right.
and you know, the input of the voters weren't there. It dilutes Black power and the power of Black and people of color.
Right.
And that's actually not the case.
Right.
Right? You know, before the ballot measure made it onto the ballot, it was argued publicly in front of the legislature, right? Before the bills were then passed and made it onto the ballot. Voters again will get to decide on it, right? So voters, you have a choice.
Right.
Make the right one. Yes, I'm 50.
Yeah.
But you know, voters do have a choice.
They do.
They do. And in terms of dilution of Black power and the power of people of color, I'd say no, go to Texas for that. What the maps of Texas have done, wonders, as Nigerians would say, wonders shall never cease, okay? In the way that they have managed to grow the representation of white folks and dilute the power and voice of Latinx folks and Black folks, right? With Texas having the largest population of Black voters in the country.
Wow. Texas does. Interesting.
So, California, on the other hand, does not do that.
Right.
The map, not only in the map drawing process were comments from the past independent redistricting commission process taken into account.
Right.
Right. It manages to maintain the Black. I'm trying to. The technical term is in my head, which doesn't make sense for folks. But the communities with large Black populations,
right,
or large Black voting power, or large Black and BIPOC influence were kept together.
Right.
So as not to dilute their power.
Right.
We also have all three congressional Black seats that we have in California. All three of them, we maintain those.
Oh, nice.
So you know, I'm saying go to Texas with that.
Yeah. I think that's great. Well, okay. So this has been great. So, but help me understand. Well, actually, not help me. Well, me too. How can
the
voters?
The people in the back.
Okay, so how can voters cut through all this noise and understand what's truly at stake beyond partisan talking points? Because you know, someone's probably listening to this. Okay, this is a left-wing agenda and things like that, and whatever else. You know, how can someone who certainly doesn't want to say, "Well, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I just want to do what's right"? What would you say to that person?
I say that's fair. That's fair, and I commend you. So I'd say, you know, they're nonpartisan organizations, right? For us, we understand what we need to do, but I think the Secretary of State's website is a good start, right? You have neutral information available to you, right? California Secretary of State. I think good government groups, like organizations that have been advocating for fair representation that are nonpartisan, are helpful. And so, and I'll shout out the League of Women Voters. I'll shout out the California Common Cause, but they also have a California chapter. Okay. They are wonderful. But I'll also plug that even good government groups like Common Cause, they're like, this moment is a very, very urgent moment and something needs to be done. And so what they did was actually develop fairness criteria on which they're judging all of the states that are engaging in this redistricting dance, this redistricting vie for power. Right. And so if you even go on their site, they're like, we don't condone all these shenanigans. Right. But here are fairness criteria for you to judge what's going on. Right. And I'll note that California passed those fairness criteria. And so that's, you know, that is helpful, right? Because they're like, we're not about this, because they've actually worked to pass legislation on the federal level to ensure that all states have a level playing field with regard to how they approach redistricting, because right now only 9 states in the country have an independent redistricting commission or something to that effect. The rest of the state do something different. A lot of it is left to the legislature behind closed doors, like Texas. So anyway,
interesting.
So yeah, Common Cause, League of Women Voters, your Secretary of State, They'll put out, neutral, non-partisan information. So those are good.
And just passed with flying colors. So
Prop 50 passed with flying colors.
Okay.
Okay.
Hear that, you guys? Passed with flying colors.
Passed with flying
It is not the agenda of the left wing or whatever else it may be. It's just options.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond this proposition, let's talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
But beyond the proposition, okay, your work explores intersectional justice, okay, examining how race, gender, and class intersect to shape the daily realities of Black women, okay? How does Prop 50 connect to these broader struggles for justice and equity? You kind of touched on some of it, but maybe some other finer points you might want to make.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, right? First, I gotta give a shout to Audre Lorde. She talks about there's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we don't live single issue lives.
Right.
So everything's intersectional.
Super facts.
Right. But in terms of how Prop 50 fits into this, again, I'll go to the fact that all of these oppressions are systemic, and so we need systemic solutions. Prop 50 gives us a chance to preserve a system whereby we can actually propose systemic solutions to the systemic issues that we are navigating in this country, right? If we don't pass Prop 50, we kind of, one, bring a knife to a gunfight, plastic knife to a gunfight.
On top of it,
right? Because honestly, like, the urgency of this moment is that we are being ushered into authoritarianism.
Yeah.
It is wild to me that the President of the United States can call legislators and be like, I will primary you if you don't vote in support of my agenda, and these legislators say, all right, fine.
Wow.
I will vote in support of this.
Wow. Right?
So there are no checks and balances at all in Congress. Like, no checks and balances against the president. That's what the system was built on. Right. Right? Like, where's the pride in your own camp? Why are Congress people not proud to be a check on the president? Why aren't they proud to be a check on the Supreme Court? Like, how are you all colluding together, right?
Matter of fact, we do something about those Epstein files. Let's get those Epstein files. Let's look at that, and then we'll revisit this. Sorry, that just slipped out.
No, but speaking of that, right? Like, even right now, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and I gotta go.
Yeah.
But Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is refusing to swear in a legislator from Arizona. Grijalva is her last name, Democrat, who's been a citizen staunch advocate for release of the Epstein files.
Wow.
And she would be a vote for like a procedural aspect that would force them to, force Congress to release the files.
That's crazy.
So they're refusing to swear this woman. So her district doesn't have representation in Congress right now.
Wow.
This is what's going on. This is what's going on in our country in this moment.
Our democracy is going to hell in the handbasket. This is.
So Prop 50 is a response.
Yeah.
Prop 50 is a reason.
And we need to make the critical response because some of stuff is not going on.
We didn't just up and wake up and say, all right, we need to do this.
Right.
We did this because Texas said, all right, we're going to do this. We did this because, we did it specifically because Texas, but in terms of the lay of the land, many other states are engaging in this redistricting effort, while Article 2 or Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act has been heard at the Supreme Court and has a chance of being gutted.
Right. Interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm scared, I'm shook.
No, I'm shook too, but let's get ready to wrap up here. Okay, so kind of piggybacking off for the previous question, okay, so you often speak about global realization of reproductive justice, right? Okay. How does something as local as a California ballot initiative ripple outward into the global fight for dignity and autonomy?
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, as California goes, so does the rest of the country, is the thing we like to say.
Right.
Our big heads.
Right.
But it's true. But anyway, so there's that piece, right? I think Prop 50, we are seeing across the country, across the nation, across the world, across the globe, this rise in authoritarianism. This rise in and this move towards like right-wing policies and governments, right? And I think that bold moves like a Prop 50 are a model for a response, right? We're in a connected global world with social media and advancements in technology. We're engaging in conversation, right? With our policy, with our advocacy, with our work. We are sparking ideas. We're contributing to the treasure trove of like ideas to fight back against fascism, to fight back against authoritarianism. So I think, people are talking about this across the world, right? And if this passes, and when this passes, and what then happens in the country as a result for the 2026 midterms, for 2028 and 2030, right? Because we have to think long term about this too. We have to think about the long term implications of Prop 50, right? I don't know that has been part of the conversation. The long term implications of this special election. It came up really quickly, so it feels like it's just like a tit for tat kind of thing. But it has long-term implications, right? Whether it's passage or not passage has long-term implications for our well-being, our ability to design the lives that we want, right? And I think it's a model. It's an approach.
Right.
It's an offering as to like one tactic to fight against authoritarianism, which the whole globe is navigating right now.
Yeah. One quick question. Well, two quick questions. Okay, so.
You sure? Because I'll talk.
Real quick. Just really quick, like 30 seconds on this.
Okay.
So recently, our governor vetoed 5 bills. One including was AB 432, which was the Menopause Equity Act, which would provide additional resources through insurance, as well as advancing more training and skills from physicians in medical school, how to deal with menopause, which was pretty wild to me. And I should know that Holly Bear was a big proponent and advocate for that to get that passed. And he vetoed it, but he talked about it being too broad, and he wants something a little bit more specific and things like what you guys had a lot of time to figure out how broad it was, and so, but whatever. And so there's been some. I heard Angela Rye talk about this. She said, "Well, I guess there had been some rumblings. So, well, since you didn't pass any of those bills, we're not going to pass your proposition, then, so to speak." So, what would you say about that? And the second question is, look, you're sharp. Do you have like political aspirations or
no? I can answer. Sure? That's a quick answer. Don't nobody want to hear me run my mouth like this. Nobody's listening to me. No, I'm in the background. It's fun.
Okay.
Pulling strings. I've heard respected, brilliant, beautiful Attorney Bride. And I think her response is people can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? We can critique the misgivings of, Newsom, our governor, and also recognize the urgency of this moment and advocate for the support of this bill. I think the issue is folks are thinking of this as a Newsom bill, and I need us to reframe that. Newsom's going to be good.
Or it's his way of trying to leverage himself into the White House on the backs of, I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah, and listen, even if it is.
I said the same thing, so even if it is, the cost of this not passing has implications for our lives. Yeah. So even if it is, it's also a solution. Yeah. Okay, not like the be all and end all. But it is an opportunity. Because I'm like, what else was the alternative? So I'm not saying that our governor isn't politically astute, right? He doesn't get there without, right? And I can't speak to any other aspirations that he might have. Right. Yet and still, yes, and the and part is it's a solution that helps give us an opportunity to continue to fight. Yeah.
it gives us the opportunity to hold folks accountable.
Right.
It continues our strategy to block and build. Right?
Right.
So, I mean, if this doesn't pass, then
Yeah.
the implications for our community. So we would be the ones cutting our noses to spite
Right, our
the
faces, yeah.
faces. We would be the ones who voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And now Trump has given, money to Argentinian farmers and not the ones who use.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's the devastation that will happen as a result of it not passing is, as we so clearly articulated here. But again, thank you for gracing our Urban Birds and Bees platform. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Oneymma. Is it Oneymma Obiekea?
You did that.
That's my body. I kind of practice it else.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Neal. This was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting through my rambling.
Yeah,
I had a really good time.
No, you're fantastic.
And look forward to more conversations.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So again, we're coming to you live from the Oneymma Members Lounge here in the heart of Culver City. Again, this is Dr. Kerry Neal, and we're talking about vote on Prop 50. But at the end of the day, I think it's important for everyone to vote your values. Go out and vote. You may not even say, I don't believe what they're saying. You know what? Get out and vote. So let your voice be heard. Again, this is Dr. Kerry Neal, Urban Birds and Bees. Until next time, we're out.
Perfect.
Thank you. And I realize I forgot to plug our voter guide, but we gotta be out here.
Get out here. Okay,
Thank you so much.
But give me your
yes.
your info
Okay.
on these cards. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing some pretty cool stuff,
Nice.
and I'm excited to partner with everyone down here as well. We'll just have some great